Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Monmouth County. My name is Angie Moore-Fogan, and my pronouns are she, her. I serve as the chair of the Aesthetics Committee, and I'm also a member of the Worship Committee. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. Our mission is to create community, transform ourselves, and transform the world. This morning, we welcome our guest speakers, Elaine Held and the Friday Afternoon Covenant Group. Elaine Held was our music director emerita, and she's been a member of UUCMC for over 25 years. She was the first paid music director at UUCMC, and after retiring as music director, she has continued to support the music program on a volunteer basis as a member of the music committee, playing the organ and the piano when needed, and organizing and directing the sisters singers. I draw your attention to the backside of your orders of service for announcement and service information for next week. For those of you on the live stream and for video viewers, the order of service link is available to you in the YouTube service description box. Following the story wisdom, kids are invited to join Sunday Fun Day with Lucas Mednes, games, crafts, getting to know each other, and most importantly, having fun in the community. After the service, those gathered in person are welcome to visit with one another. Refreshments will be served in the community room, and people of all ages are welcome to visit with one another. If you are new to us, please do visit our website, uucmc.org, where you can sign up to get all the latest news of the congregation by email. We look forward to getting to know you better. Please put your devices on silent as we enter into worship together. Welcome again to this place of love and hope.
I'm very sorry to tell you that we've had a change in the program because our dear Yame Abdo has hurt her knee, so she will not be dancing. It would have been lovely here, yes. But Michael will take over.
Not dancing. Yeah, unfortunately, I'll have to wait to see me dance. Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to be back. In place of that, I will be playing some music. Later on, you'll see the aria or air and variations in the Italian style. There are quite a few variations of that, so I will do a few more, and I'll talk more about them when we get there, but it's nice because I was selecting between a few, and now I will do 3 now and 3 later. Each of them are about a line. Some of them are less than a minute, so it'll be short. But today's theme is all about stories and telling stories, and there's many ways in music to tell stories. Improvisation is one of them because it is free form and it has a narrative. And another important way is with theme and variations. It's sort of like a character being developed throughout the story, which is why I chose these pieces. And you'll hear different call and responses. The theme and variations is presenting of a theme, a melody, and then the variations on that. So I want you to listen out for that main melody, and then especially listen throughout it again in the next 2 variations, and how it's presented differently, a little slower, with different harmonies, different tempo. It is the first start. This, and in Italian style, just means in the Baroque time, this is what sort of would be like a popular song. You could think of a pop song or a musical even. That would be the leading drama because it's Italian opera, which would be the case of like a musical now, especially a New York musical. So I'll present the theme first and play it, and then I'll do the variations after. Variations being 1, 3, and 6.
tell, sorry. Thank you, Michael. So were you surprised when you came in the room this morning? Yeah, this is, we used to do this, and then we as a group decided, let's do this again. So we're kind of fun, and thanks, Maggie, for making it happen. Yes. All right, the call to worship words are by Norman Fisher from his book, Sailing Home, Using the Wisdom of Homer's Odyssey to Navigate Life's Perils and Pitfalls. Here's what he writes. Our lives are full of stories, inundated by them. The day begins with the drama of the morning news and continues with stories we hear from friends, family members, co-workers, acquaintances. Popular songs regale us with stories, as do the movies, the internet, the newspaper. Almost all our institutions, from business to psychotherapy, from school to pulpit, organize their messages through story. And at night, we fall asleep to tales told in books, magazines, or television, and even our dreams weave our souls into the spell of story. You'd think we would be tired of stories, that we'd have heard it all by now, but our appetite for them is unabated. Creating, processing, and interpreting stories is a major industry, and at any given moment, there are literally millions of people working on the creation of new stories that we will consume, discuss, fret about, dote over, forget, and remember. Every month, the Covenant Circle, all the circles, are given a list of quotes based on topics. The Friday afternoon Covenant Circle decided to create a Sunday service around the January topic of story. The opening quote for January for our Covenant Circle was by Brené Brown, an American academic and podcaster who is chair of the University of Houston's Graduate College of Social Work. And she writes, I now see how owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we can do. We hope our stories are brave and genuine, and by telling them, you get to know a little bit more of who we are. Oh, the first hymn. No, chalice lighting. Go ahead.
The chalice lighting words are also from Norman Fisher. Somebody will light the chalice? Yeah. To know that my story is not exactly mine, but is a wave rising up within a sea of stories, is to appreciate my story and everyone else in a newer, wider, and more significant way. Maybe by looking at stories this way, we can see them as larger and more mysterious. Then perhaps we won't need to cling anymore to one particular version of our story. Instead, we might begin to see our many stories as stories of humanness, of being alive, not just our own small possessions. And then perhaps we can be inspired by our own stories and begin to make use of them in a new way.
So the first hymn is not really a hymn. We call them hymns, but it's a song. And you have the words in your bulletin because there's no sense looking at the book, because I'm going to want you to do some hand motions. But you can put your words down on your lap, and if you need to look at them, that's fine. The words, Michael will play it, but first of all, so that the words are, from you I receive, to you I give, and together we learn, share, and from this we live. So we're doing right, left, or whatever you want. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. All right? Go ahead, Michael, let's hear it.
I will sing and play it once through, and then there's no, we have agreed that a song like this doesn't, we won't label the amount of repetitions. I'll just grow in the piano part, and it'll come to a cadence. Wherever you're comfortable, you may stand or sit.
Just stay. just stay down.
Okay.
Yeah. Because then you can put the words on your lap.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From we live, to you I sing, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Once more.
To you I receive, and to you I give, and together we share, and from this we live.
Excellent. Yeah.
Half of the time is spent setting up. Still nursing injury. Okay. Do I dare? Yeah. Okay. This is a children's story. For all the children in the house. Okay. It's a story about remembering an impactful and heartwarming event and the gift of sharing it. Impactful remembrances, louder. Impactful remembrances, how's that?
That's good.
Yeah, okay, great. Whether happy or sad or hurtful, are still our stories that can be told and shared if and when the opportunity presents itself. So this is called Reverence by Brian Doyle. One time, when my twin sons were little, maybe 5 or 6 years old, they were playing soccer with the town league. It was a crisp, beautiful October afternoon, and I was standing with the other parents along the sideline watching the game, when suddenly the tiny, intense soccer players on the field formed a loose circle on the field, and the game stopped. I remember the coach, one of those dads who's really into victory, even though the boys and girls were 3 feet tall, was waving his arms. I remember that 2 of the moms ran out onto the field, worried a child was injured. I remember that the referee, a long, lean teenager, sprinted towards the circle of kids, worried that one of them was hurt. And then the circle devolved into a sort of procession, with all the players on both teams following a little girl in front. Cupped in the tiny girl's hand was a praying mantis. He insisted on playing the part. Where was I? Which she and all the players on both teams were escorting reverently off the field. Because, as a child helpfully explained to me afterward, the praying mantis was on the field first, and maybe even lived there, while we were all visitors, and you were supposed to be polite when you visit someone's house. I've seen many extraordinary moments in sports, stunning achievements, stunning reversals, terrific teams who played better at some moments than they imagined they ever could, but I don't think I ever saw a more genuine moment than this praying mantis moment. All of it was there for us to see. Teamwork, decisive collective action, a leader rising to the occasion, humor, generosity, respect, surprise, grace, satisfaction, laughter, and the subtle virtue of being something you see only once in a lifetime, deeply respectful.
We'll now sing the children out to class.
Oh, yes. And now, we will sing the children out to class.
Every week in this congregation, we are provided with an opportunity to practice generosity. This is your invitation to contribute to the well-being of our congregation. For those of you present here in the meeting house, the plates will be passed by the ushers. Online, instructions are located in the service description box. You may join this time of generosity via text or send your offering by mail or charge your contribution online. Please give generously.
When my covenant group, or my covenant circle, asked me to tell a story, my response immediately was, I don't have a story. I lied. Of course, I have many stories, but I wanted one that would inspire reflection. So here goes, my story, my string of events, and I have to use an invisible string. I love music. Fussy at times, but I do love music. So when I downsized a few years ago and sold my electric Gibson, amplifier, wires, speakers, all kinds of stuff, I realized I was missing something. I looked for some kind of musical training, but not too difficult or time-consuming, something that would bring about results in a very short time for this impatient person. So though a piano is cool, I can't throw it in the back seat of my car or take it anywhere. Enter the ukulele, a little four-stringed wonder. The meta string started at UU with our ukulele orchestra, one knot. Then, a former congregant happened to live in my building at Seabrook. Her name was in the records as the leader of a ukulele group. Another knot. Okay, 2 knots. I figured I could restart that ukulele group and ease my transition away from guitar. I really needed all the help I could get. That's a big, giant knot. I now own 4 ukuleles, and I'm always open for adopting. My home group is thriving and holding sing-alongs at various events. We're provided with all that we need, but best of all, we have an audience that is very appreciative and puts up with our choices, which may include anything from Sloop John B. to does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight? My metaphorical string now encompasses a musical family, friendship, ideas, and inspiration. The ukulele is truly a strangely compelling instrument. These days, chances are I'm either planning a set list or thinking of what to try next on my ukulele. Luckily, very few people hear that. Following my interests, I've discovered a community of players locally and online who complement my hobby. It's been easy to reconnect with some of my very young teenage favorite songs and find out that they're just waiting for me to rediscover them, whether on paper or on my favorite location, YouTube. Even though it's a wide universe of opportunity, music that is, making it a personal choice and learning experience is all worth the trouble, a very wide string indeed. But the metaphor kind of fits. There are always strings attached in life, but hopefully they're as kind and gentle as the 4 that I touch when playing my ukulele. The ukulele has provided me with the enjoyment and rewards of being in a community, sharing ideas and techniques, probably all the things you would do in any creative setting. So, taken slightly out of context, the lyrics that follow are how I feel as I'm strings along on a musical journey. Quote, I have my ship, and all her flags are a-flying. She is all that I have left, and music is her name.
This is a quote from the January Covenant Circle reading, this one by Courtney Martin, who is an American feminist, author, speaker, and social and political activist. She says, I see my dad through my own filter and then present it to the world as whole, when really it is inherently inadequate, full of the holes of my own limitations. This quote is one I ponder whenever I remember this following story from my life. Tenny. I grew up in the northwest corner of this state in a small town called Branchville. At the time, it was the dairy part of the state with beautiful fields of cows and many working farms. Today, the dairy farms have just about all disappeared. I was one of those privileged girls who, at the age of 12, was given my own horse. Many kids in this neck of the land had horses, so it wasn't all that unusual, but still, I was thrilled. My first horse was a young, very tall chestnut gelding with lots of spunk. Too much, really, for a 12-year-old. I was way too young to know how to take care of, let alone handle, one of these huge animals. The saddle was heavy, and I had to throw it up to the top of the horse's back. Then I had to learn how to cinch it so I wouldn't fall off while I was riding it, with me on it. I had to put the bridle in the mouth of the horse. I had to learn how to scoop out manure in the stall, how to feed the horse hay and oats, give him daily clean water, clean him, curry him, and give him love. Well, before long, this horse was traded in for a shorter, quieter model. This time it was a bay gelding, brown with black mane and tail, and his name was Tennessee. I think he came with that name, but I called him Tenny. I rode him all over the place, into all the acreage of woods behind our house, the many roads and the cemetery next to our house, the fairgrounds near town, and even into town. I would ride to see a friend miles away who also had a horse, and another friend closer who didn't have a horse and loved riding double with me on Tenny. That winter, there was a big snowstorm, which happens a lot in Sussex County. And after Dad had plowed the roads, he left a huge pile of snow in the driveway. My little sister and I dug a cave into it and could play in there, cold as it was, for hours. Dad kept asking me if I had fed the horse, and I kept saying, yep, but I didn't. I had to walk quite a distance to get to the barn, and I often didn't want to go, especially with the deep snow. That spring, I went down to ride Tenny, and while riding him on the lawn, he fell, slipping down a very small hill with me on him. I was fine, but he was just laying there. The vet came, spent some time with him. I was hiding in my bedroom. and my parents told me later that the vet had to put him down. He said the horse probably had cancer because he was so thin. Oh my God, had I starved my horse to death? Was it my fault that he died because I wanted to play in the snow? I felt so much pain and guilt that I had killed my horse. When I was an adult, I wondered if my father took any responsibility for this horse. Or did he rely on this now 13-year-old to do the job? Or did the horse really die of cancer, not starvation? This experience certainly burned into my brain the importance, the value, maybe even for me, the danger of not being responsible. One that as the eldest child in the family, I didn't need any more examples of. But what a terrible way to learn this lesson. I was very surprised later that summer when my parents asked me if I wanted another horse. Of course I did. What I didn't ask is if they could trust me with another horse. I guess they did, and maybe my father also understood his part in this event. We never talked about it. I'm pretty sure what I learned and perhaps over-internalized about this story was a lot of what I am today. But I also still pondered the opening quote from January's readings. I see my dad through my own filter and then present it to the world as whole, when really it is inherently inadequate, full of the holes of my own limitation. I keep in mind that I was just a kid, and really, how well do I remember this event 60 years later? But still, for good or bad, I am a very responsible person.
Just relax. I was brought up to ignore the body. After all, we would leave it and go to heaven. I had trouble with mind-body coordination. I couldn't act if someone talked. In gym classes, we had been taught only competitive sports. When I was at bat in softball, I concentrated on swinging the bat to meet the ball, and once in a while I did. But if the gym teacher yelled, swing the bat, my entire concentration just left and I'd freeze. One day, my friend took me to Tai Chi Chuan classes. Tai Chi Chuan is a Chinese form of exercise. Because our teacher didn't talk much during the class, probably because of his English, we mostly learned by copying him, his movements. In classes, Mr. Joe did not correct us. He watched us, and then each week he saw what we needed to learn, and each week he made a new lesson, such as moving very slowly, or moving in curves, or moving with the breath. We did a lot of two-person exercises. If I was told, relax, I didn't understand, but I could feel when another person's arm was relaxed, and then I could learn how to do it. At first, when we were doing these exercises and someone spoke to me and gave me a correction, I got angry and left the room. I thought it was, I attributed that to the fact that I couldn't talk and move at the same time. But over the years, I've realized that maybe it was also because I'd had a terrible time accepting correction, and that it was an emotional reaction to feeling watched. And it's taken me years to work through this. With much practice, I've learned to move and talk at the same time, or listen at the same time. Now, in a class, I watch to see how other students learn. And some of them might learn from a physical way to learn. Some might need a verbal expression, or some kind of a metaphor, or whatever it is that can help the person, because I understand about how hard it is to learn. When I practice Tai Chi, muscles and nerves wake up with messages stored in them about how to move, or sometimes it was a lesson that someone had told me, or it was a beautiful place where I practiced. I've always felt that I have mind, body, emotional, and spiritual aspects of myself. And I'm so thankful that I've been able to develop them all just with the lucky life that I've had. And I put myself in good places, such as here, and among friends, and in a Tai Chi class, and on a quiet shore to relax.
Can everyone hear me from here? Yes? Is this good? Okay. My name is Yame. I was born in Brazil in 1987, 2 years after the end of our military dictatorship. I never fully understood why, by 1998, a seed was planted in my heart, the desire to come to the United States. I was 11 years old. I loved American music, movies, and TV shows. I translated my favorite songs using a dictionary, watched my favorite cartoons in English with Portuguese subtitles, sang in English in the shower, and spoke to my best friend in English on our way to English class. I had this idea in my head that by the time I turned 16, I would move to the US and live here in an apartment with my best friend. 16 years old, living in a foreign country, with my 16-year-old friend. It's a very reasonable dream, a very realistic goal for an 11-year-old's mind. They say you should be careful what you wish for. As ridiculous as that dream would have seemed to anyone who could have heard it at the time, the universe has a way of working things out, of lining things up just the right way to make the impossible possible, so long as we do our part. I never told anyone about my impossible dream, but one day, around the turn of the millennium, my mom asked us if we wanted to move to the US. The opportunity had presented itself to her, and I was not letting it pass by. So I made it my life's mission to convince the rest of my family, who was not at first on board. The year was 2000. I was 13 years old. Arriving here, I thought I would be welcomed with open arms, like back at home when we got new classmates from foreign countries, and everyone would gather around them and ask questions. Even if they didn't speak Portuguese, we could figure out ways to communicate. We were curious, and our default impression of our foreign peers was positive. But instead of the warm welcome and curious questions I expected, I was met with indifference. A lot of my classmates were nice at face value, but I was rarely asked to get together after school or on a weekend or invited to a sleepover. Something was off. It took me years to start forming deep and lasting friendships, and only later would I come to understand why. In school, I learned about the state's westward expansion, the gold rush and manifest destiny, while glossing over the genocide and violent forced displacement of the land's indigenous populations. In school, I learned that the Civil War ended slavery, but it wasn't until later that I found out that slavery simply morphed into systems of systemic racism and oppression, including a prison system of mass incarceration that profits off the labor and bodies of Black, brown, and poor folks who are treated as guilty unless proven innocent. In school, I learned that the US defeated the Nazis because they were evil fascists, and Americans were the good guys freeing the world. But it took some extracurricular reading for me to learn that the American government rounded up hundreds of thousands of Japanese Americans and US residents, including people simply suspected of being of Japanese descent, into concentration camps. I could go on and on about the things I learned in school and everything I had to learn outside of it. But what I learned the most about my chosen country was through the experiences and interactions I had and the things I witnessed. I was here for barely over a year when the Twin Towers were struck. and the unity a lot of average Americans speak of experiencing in the aftermath. I witnessed as a wave of hate against Muslims, Arabs, Middle Easterners, and anyone who might look like they were. A wave of fear and hatred that drove wars that killed millions of people in the Middle East. And now here we are, more than 2 decades later, the unchecked prejudices towards Muslims, Arabs, and Middle Easterners now manifesting as a genocide against Palestinians, with hundreds of thousands killed, 2 million deliberately starved and made homeless from indiscriminate bombing targeting civilians and their society's entire infrastructure, paid for with American tax dollars, armed with American weapons. And those who dare to speak up against it are called anti-Semitic. Those who dare protest it are met with police violence or sent to jail without due process. Here we are. I've been living here for 25 years now, a quarter of a century, a young adult's entire lifetime. A citizen not by birth, but by choice. I was born in Brazil 2 years after the end of the military dictatorship, a dictatorship that imprisoned and tortured hundreds of thousands and claimed many lives, a dictatorship that was supported by the United States, like many other dictatorships around the world, both then and now. Last year, I witnessed the collective horror as the majority of this country chose to elect a white supremacist fascist to its highest office for the second time. But to me, there's nothing shocking or surprising about that choice. What we see now is simply the natural progression of where the US has always been headed, the full-fledged expression of what it has always been. What we see are the chickens coming home to roost. So now here we are, watching as immigrants are kidnapped without due process and placed in overcrowded for-profit concentration camps by the thousands every single day. Next, they will come for the homeless, the poor and indebted, the ill and disabled, and the dissidents. All while cost of living rises exponentially, our healthcare system crumbles, and billionaires hoard wealth, creating more homelessness, poverty and debt, illness and disability, dissidence and desperation. None of it shocks me as an immigrant because the mask of freedom, democracy, and opportunity was always see-through to me. This is what happens when a country lies to itself for centuries about how it was founded, what it has done, and what it continues to be. And for my decades-long criticism of this government, I've been called anti-American, a hater, and questioned why, if I dislike it so much, don't I just leave? And I could leave, but I choose to stay, despite the risk, despite the hate, despite the loss of freedom and rights, despite the death of the American dream for my generation. I stay because I love this land and I love her people. I stay because amidst all the cruelty, oppression, and evil, there is a shining light in the form of every person who resists, persists, and dreams of something better. I stay because of the US-born citizens putting their bodies on the line to protect their immigrant neighbors from being kidnapped by the state. I stay because here I have watched queer communities rally behind the Palestinian cause. And as a result, I have watched conservative Muslims question their own homophobic biases. And because of Jews who are speaking up against the genocide and land grab being done in their name. I stay because of the millions of indigenous folks who are still here, having survived centuries of genocide and oppression by the state, fighting for their rights, land, water, and sovereignty. I stay because of the Black folks and immigrants whose labor built and support this country, who deserve better than to be targeted by a carceral system that seeks to enslave them for cheap labor. I stay because of communities like this one, full of people who share the belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every human being and who live their lives in alignment with those values. I stay because 27 years ago, when I was 11 years old, before I had any idea that I could, it was my dream to live here. Before I had any idea of what that meant, without knowing how difficult, painful, and traumatic it would be, that seed was planted in my heart because I was meant to be here. Through all of this, my place is here. And despite this country's dark and difficult past and present, I am optimistic about the future of this land. My American dream is not one of home ownership with a white picket fence and a nuclear family. It's much bigger than that. My American dream is one of reckoning with the truths of our past and present. Reparations, collective healing, and evolution of consciousness, land stewardship, and business practices based on sustainability, reciprocity, and right relationship. Food, housing, and health care as universal human rights, a legal system that honors and respects the inherent worth and dignity of every human being, and a government that lives up to the American promise of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness and freedom and justice for all. It's a reasonable dream, a realistic goal. There's only a little bit left. Thank you. A realistic goal. That seemingly impossible dream is possible because the universe has a way of working things out, of lining things up just the right way to make the impossible possible, so long as we do our part. Every action we take, every interaction we have, every word we say, every thought we think will either bring us closer or take us further from that dream. Every single day, especially now. Thank you. Let's take this time to practice a short, relaxing meditation together. Let's start by rooting the soles of your feet into the floor. Maybe hands on the thighs or by the sides of your body. Lengthen your spine. And close your eyes. Start to bring your awareness into your breath without changing it, without judging it. Just notice your breath. Feel the flow of your breath. Is it flowing in through your nose or through your mouth? Is it flowing out through your nose or through your mouth? Feel the movement of your body as you breathe. How do you feel your body moving as you breathe in? Your belly, your rib cage, your chest. What movements do you feel as you breathe in and as you breathe out? Let's take a deep breath in together through the nose and sigh it out through the mouth. Again, breathing in through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. Again, breathing in through the nose and all the way out through the mouth. And now breathing in and out through the nose, allowing your belly, ribs, and chest to expand as you fill your lungs with air, and to relax and release as you empty your lungs. And as you breathe, notice if there's any tension in your face. As you exhale, relax your forehead, unclench the jaw. Breathing in, lengthen through the neck. Notice if there's tension. And as you breathe out, allow it to release. Breathing in, notice if there's tension in the shoulders. And as you breathe out, relax and release. As you inhale, scan your whole body for tension. And as you exhale, allow it to release. Stay here for a few more breaths, noticing the pace of your breath, deepening each inhale and lengthening each exhale. Deepening each inhale and lengthening each exhale. Now start to bring your awareness back into your body and bring some movement into the body, rolling the shoulders back and forth. Maybe rolling the head from one side to the other. Bring your palms together, rub your palms together, heating up the hands. And then place the palms of your hands on your face, covering your eyes. Take your time to slowly flicker your eyes open. And slowly remove your hands from your face. Shake your body out. Thank you.
And now you may rise as you are willing and able, and we will sing hymn number 360. In this case, it really is a hymn. And so Michael will play it on the organ.
And I just wanted to mention for the last bit of you've noticed some different styles of keyboard improvisation throughout. In the beginning, it was a 20th century and jazz style improvisation of the prelude themes, and then for the invitation to generosity is when I did the hymn and the mix of Go Now in Peace. And and then the last of the variations. Now this one I had listed, I don't think it's here, but the final for the postlude, the music for going forth, is what's called a sortie improvisation. Sortie is French for literally exit music or leaving music, and it became, the French organ tradition was very ornamental and lavish, and it was a common practice. You still hear today in some of the big churches that have organs and choirs, certainly in the Protestant services, an improvisation on the last hymn. So we're singing the hymn tune, and then it's presented as a main melody on a trumpet stop on the top manual, and I will do a free harmonic improvisation for the rest, so which sort of brings this genre of keyboard improvisation to a close. I will play this once through, and then we'll sing the 3 verses, and then, of course, you'll hear it again in the sortie improvisation for the music for going forth.
Please go in peace with your own stories waiting to be heard and shared. What better place to tell them in a loving and caring community like ours? We look forward to hearing what you have to say so that we may all learn from each other and get to know each other more clearly. Peace and good storytelling.
Good job, dear. Very good. Well, you got a good response. everything you're saying.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm so glad it was well received. Really.
I'm sure someone will have a copy.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's the recording, of it, and I think it was streamed on YouTube. So yeah.
My dance is all and how they struggle.
Yeah.
Try to get over to our celebrities